Hey everyone, I'm Loretta and I've decided to do a little video talking a little bit about winter hacks for having a horse. So one of the main things into coming into winter with having a horse is that their nutrition. A lot of the times, especially if you're in like Michigan or Indiana or Washington or some of the other, New York, some of the states where you don't have access to grass all year long, so that they can't eat 24/7 grass all year long, so that you need to increase the horse's calories. I do a lot with hay, and a lot of people recommend hay as if you increase it with grain, then you have the problem of colic and digestive issues. So when they're in their cold, when horses are in colder climates, they burn off their weight to keep warm. Feeding, like I said, feeding more grain can do more harm than good, so I would recommend increasing their calories with hay. Trying oils or coca soya can be really good and can help with adding, what's it called? Some, can add nutrition. I'm sorry, I lost my thought for a moment. Anyways, it can help add nutrition, and especially if you're feeding a supplement. Like I'm feeding my one miniature mare MSM because she's 26 years old. We're hoping to add coca soya to her grain so that the MSM doesn't just sink to the bottom and she doesn't miss all of it, as we only give her a little bit because she's so tiny. But if we add the coca soya, then it'll get into the coca soya, and the coca soya goes onto the grain, and kind of all comes together with that aspect of it. So pelleted food and soaked hay cubes can help, like I said, with the grain aspect, but I would not solely survive on that. One winter I could not find anywhere, so I did have to solely survive on soaked hay cubes and soaked hay pellets, which was quite expensive. I did not enjoy that. A lot of people recommend, and if you have access to this and you can afford it, I do recommend 24/7 hay. It does help if you have easy keepers and they don't necessarily need 24/7 hay, but I recommend a slow feeder so that they have that kind of eating, I guess, if that makes sense, and it helps with their digestive issues. I don't recommend adding bran to their food as a mash. It will greatly help your horse by adding water to the just grain, I guess, if that makes sense, as the bran can cause more harm than good, I've been told. I haven't had experience with it personally, but from other horse friends and other horse people, I've been told that it does more harm than good. Blankets are another thing to consider. My miniature horse mare that's 26 years old gets a blanket on, and it's because, like, she's 26 years old, so she has a harder time keeping her weight in the winter. So we hope, and we've noticed that the blanket has helped keep her warmer, and that has helped not lose as much weight during the winter. Hydration is another thing to consider. Is their water tanks constantly frozen? Do you have access to a automatic waterer? Where my horses are at right now, they have an automatic waterer, which is really nice. I absolutely love it. Out in the pasture, in the stalls, we just continuously give them water, but watch to see if the tops freeze. I've noticed that if you do have tanks and you don't have access to get a de-icer, then to just break the ice on top of it usually just helps, and I'll do it if you do it a couple times a day, because the water on the inside of the tank in the middle does not freeze typically, unless it's really freezing out. And I've, even in the negative, I think it was like 37 one time, I believe it was last year, and we didn't have any problems with that. I've noticed that Pam spray helps. If you spray the bottom of their hoofs, it helps keep the snow from not compacting as much. Sorry, Bodhi's wanting to join in the video. And exercise, I highly recommend you continuously exercise your horses during the winter, as to keep their joints in good health. But to keep in mind when you exercise your horse in the winter that they typically will sweat, and if you don't get that sweat to dry, then that sweat will get cold and you'll start shivering, and then you'll get a whole bunch of other problems. So I recommend a fleece blanket or a cooler to put on them for at least an hour, at least a half hour, so that the sweat can cool and dry and you don't have to worry about any problems after that. And I've noticed that, and I've heard from a lot of people, that horses' hoofs take longer to grow in the winter, so you don't have to worry about that as much, but I do recommend you keep an eye on their hoofs in the winter. This is just a few little hacks and different things that I've noticed with horses in the winter. I highly recommend the grain, increased hay, blankets, watching their health, getting their teeth done if you've noticed that they have any problems keeping weight. I hope this helps everybody, and please don't hesitate to like and subscribe and to comment if you would like to see any other videos. Thank you.